Hi everyone, this is Matthew. Welcome to my home, and I'm sat here in front of my icon wall, which I'll tell you more about in a second. But first of all, I just wanted to share a few updates with you about where we are in relation to worship and the life of the church. There was a live stream this week with the Bishop of California, Mark Andrus, and he talked to us about the fact that we're going to need to continue to do live stream worship for a period of time. We're not going to be able to worship together for some time. In fact, not until the beginning of May at the moment, and the possibility is that date might change. That means that we have realized that we're not going to be able to have worship in church during Holy Week and Easter, which I have to say I've done a couple of takes of this video and I had to pause a second ago because it made me sad just telling you that news. It is sad, but we are trying to think of ways in which we can make that a really meaningful time, even if we're not able to gather together as a community. The bishop also said that later in the year, once the COVID-19 crisis has passed and things are more under control, that he would like us to have a diocesan-wide day of celebration, which he's calling a day of resurrection. It's not Easter 2.0. We're going to celebrate Easter at Easter, just from our homes. But later in the year, when we can get together, we are going to have a festival and a party and celebrate the way in which we got through this together and supported each other. And we will celebrate our faith in the new life of Christ together then in church. But for Holy Week and Easter this year, we're going to be worshipping apart in our homes. And we want to encourage you to create some spaces in your home that will make that possible. And over the next couple of weeks, in some faith formation videos from Michelle Meyer and in some conversations from me, we're going to talk about how to do that. I've actually found that creating different spaces in my home whilst I've been here has been really important. I need some space to sleep and rest. I need some space to work. I need some space to relax and recreate. And I actually want to set aside some space to be thoughtful and to pray. I sometimes go up to my roof, which we're allowed to go up to so long as we socially distance from other residents. All the other public spaces here in the building have been closed down, but I can go up to my roof. But I also want a place in my apartment where I can sit and pray. I was talking to my spiritual director the other day. She wondered whether I wanted to cancel the appointment because of all of the busyness going on. I said, no, I really need to talk to you at the moment to make sure that I have my own spiritual patterns in order. And she told me that as a person who's worked from home a lot, it's important for her to delineate different spaces, to create different spaces, and also to put some rituals in different parts of the day. So that's why I've been holding meditations in the morning, to perhaps give some of you a chance to start your day with a ritual. And maybe there's a good ritual you could have at the end of the day, just as you're finishing the work day, the school work day, the busy day, and winding down into the evening. Maybe you could go to a sacred place in your house that you've created. You could light a candle. You could sit quietly and reflect for a bit. You could maybe get the family to gather around and share some thoughts on a great thing that happened that day and a thing that didn't go so well that day. And you could offer them all up in a prayer together. And then you could say, right, that's the end of the working day. We're going to get into the rest of the evening. So I want to set up a space here in front of my icon wall that's going to be a sacred space. And we're going to help you build it over the next couple of weeks as we move towards Easter, and hopefully at Easter it will be a place that you've invested some time and energy in, and it will be really meaningful to you. So this is a place that I've always had in my apartment. It's my icon wall. I was given this icon by the Bishop of London when I was made the priest in charge of St. Saviour Pimlico in London. It's Christ Pantocrator. This is the same kind of icon, but done by a different artist at a different time. It was given to me by the people of St. Matthew's, Westminster, when I stopped being their pastoral assistant. And this is the icon that I wrote myself at an icon writing class with my friend Regan O'Callaghan, who's an artist. And if you look over my other shoulder, that piece of art right there was created by Regan and is one of my precious possessions in my place. It's a reminder of that dear friend. So this is the place that I want to set up my sacred space. You're going to have to think about where you might put it. Is it a place that you can set aside? Is it a place that you can have permanently set aside for this? If you don't have a place you could set aside permanently, why not listen to Michelle Meyer's video on sacred spaces, because she's talking about creating a mobile sacred space. But all I did to create my sacred space Well, I haven't created it yet, I'm about to. I went around my apartment, I picked up some things that were all meaningful to me. Well, I guess this isn't really meaningful. This is just a runner that I found. And I want to put it here. Here are a couple of pieces of material that I got in Sierra Leone when I was visiting my friend Peter Tucker there. They are tie-dyed and they go with a tablecloth, which I use as my Christmas tree runner. I just wanted to add a little bit of color. This is just a napkin. But I thought it might be nice in the space. Oh, it's got some fluff on it. I'm going to tuck the fluff under. There we go. Now, I went back to England recently and my mum was clearing out because they're moving house, and she gave me this, which was a dish I made in high school, and it's got some melted glass in it that I really liked, and that reminds me of home. This is a bit corny, but it's an angel that I bought in the southwest of America, and I like it. It's got a turtle on it right in here, if you see, and it's kind of sweet, and it just sits around my apartment, so I think I might just put it into this space for now. These are some stones that I've had for years that I used as a part of a therapy session a long time ago, and they're a reminder of my healing and well-being, and we seem to use stones a lot at Transfiguration, so it feels like they should be in my sacred space. Here's my name stone from Noelle's wedding last fall that Noreen made for me, and it's a reminder of that happy memory. This is a fern I was given as a housewarming gift, and you know what? It's a bit of a mess, but it survived. Please excuse my dryer going off in the middle of all of that. This is a working home, and so therefore all that sort of things happening, and you create sacred spaces while everything's going on around you. Okay, so then I've also got a candle that I like, that I've been lighting for the meditations that I've been leading. And because I believe more is more, I've got lots of other candles, which are just tea lights that I've got around my house. And I'm going to put them out in various places here. You don't have to put this many candles out, but I like candles, so I'm going to. You can light the candles when you come to reflect or meditate. You can light just one candle perhaps. I've also got this singing bowl I really love. Well, you know what? I'm going to move it back onto the material so it won't move. Let's try again. You will be amazed how much a sound like that can help you to change moods from a day to an evening. Can help you ritually change your tone. Can maybe help you focus on prayer instead of the working day. Gonna light all the candles. So what I've tried to do is just collect things from around my house that are meaningful to me and put them in a space where I can come and be reflective and can be reminded of my family back home. I can be reminded of my own healing and well-being. I can be reminded of places that I've prayed in the past. I can be reminded of the life of the fern and of my home. And so this is my sacred space. I'm going to add to it and move things around and change it up as we go over the next few weeks. I'm going to put some things in there that we create on the way to Easter and Holy Week, and I'm going to use it as a focus for me to think about my spiritual life at home in this period of time. So that's my sacred space, and I'm looking forward very much to seeing you on Sunday I'm going to be running a live stream again with Matthew and with Michelle and with Joshua and with Erin, with the help of Brian and Mike, who are helping us technically. We're going to run a service of morning prayer, not a Eucharist this time, and I want you to let me know what you think of that afterwards. We thought we'd do morning prayer because we can't really share the Eucharist together from such a distance, so we thought morning prayer might be a good way to go. But let me know if you would prefer the Eucharist because it's familiar rather than morning prayer. After the service on Sunday morning, we're going to have a virtual coffee hour. I'm going to do the same thing I did last week. Look on the parish website for my Zoom room link and click on it after the service, and I'll be there as soon as I can after the service finishes. I did want to say that we have got permission to gather together for a small number of people in church, so long as we socially distance, observe a 6-foot gap between us, and we keep the same people in the team. And we're not at the moment allowed to have volunteers who might have a health condition that might make them vulnerable to COVID-19 or that are over the age of 65. But we want to try and figure out a way of including everybody in our worship in future, and we'll give some thought to that. But for now, we'd really love to see you in coffee hour, and we really love to see you on the live stream at the weekend. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you get to go and have fun creating your sacred space. Listen to Michelle Myers' video. She's got some other ideas about how to do it, and include the children and include anybody else in the house, and maybe go and get things from the garden. So listen to Michelle Myers' example and create your sacred space. Lots of love. Bye.